Well, we're going to get packed back up here and get back underway. Lots of exploring left yet to do. Here's how I know this is a fir tree or a balsam of some sort. You can see the smooth bark on this tree with these horizontal, more or less horizontal bands of a little bit rougher bark. That's characteristic of a balsam fir. And especially if you look over here at the needles, they're flat. Unlike pine trees have round needles. And if you look underneath them, there's two little silver stripes on the underside of the needle. That's another characteristic of the balsam fir. We just come down off of that little island, and this is a little pond here, frozen over. Be a neat place to come back in the springtime. If you could get back here, probably get eaten alive by mosquitoes before you made it this far. I love places like this. Let's follow the deer trail here. See what he was seeing. Yeah, cross over a little narrow spit of land here. Come to another pond. This is so cool back here. Such a wild, natural place. That big old white pine over there. What a beauty. And that ridge line there. Trees silhouetted against the February sky. In my mind, that's as beautiful as a beach in Tahiti. Wild black cherry tree there. Some tracks. Hop, 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 hop. That's as far as they go. I'm guessing that was a bird. Well, here we are now in a more open part of the forest. This was kind of my goal for today, was to explore this. Like I say, I drive past every day on Wixom Road. And you can see this from the road, and I've always wanted to come back here and see what's back here. Well, here we are down in a little hollow, little ravine of sorts. Right up there is the ridge that was talking about in the last shot. Silhouette of the trees against the sky. Down in a little hollow here. There's another little hill or ridge over to the other side there. All these landforms back in here are remnants of the last ice age, when the glaciers were retreating from this part of Oakland County. And pretty much this area of Oakland County was right between two lobes of the receding glaciers. So it had meltwater and gravel and sand running off the glacier and creating all these hills, ridges, hollows, valleys, swamps, ponds. Like I said in the last video, I wish I could go back to that time and stand here and between the two lobes, the two giant fingers of the glacier, and look up at the ice and the water cascading off of it, the bare land in front of me, the gravel and sandbars at my feet. If you know anybody that has a time machine, let me know. We've just walked over another little low rise there out of that little hollow and beat our way through this thicket here. And we're standing on the shore now of a pond, an old glacial swamp, runoff water. Maybe there was an old ice block that melted away here. You can see the cattails growing here in the shallow end of it. So I'm going to walk out there. Always see this pond from the road. And it's always cool in the wintertime to be able to walk out into the middle of a pond. But it's cool to go out there and just see things from a different aspect. So let's hike on out through the cattails here. And hopefully everything is frozen solid. It should be. It's been pretty darn cold for the last couple of weeks. I think we should have 8 or 10 inches of ice out there. I love cattails. That looks like a piece of artwork right there. Artists try mightily to recreate what nature does so easily. And one of the bad things is that the cattails in Michigan, cattail reeds, cattail swamps, are being forced out by an invasive species called Phragmites. I believe that's the correct pronunciation of it. It's a tall grass. I'm sure you've all seen it growing alongside the road in Michigan. It grows 10 or 12 feet tall and has these humongous feathery like fronds on the end of the stalk. It's really quite a pretty and striking plant, especially when it grows in mass, but it's very invasive and it will take over any place where it's introduced, and it will force out all the native species. And of course, we know with cattails there's a whole ecology that's drawn to them. Red-winged blackbirds just love to live amongst the cattails. Where the Phragmites has taken over, there's no more red-winged blackbirds. Unfortunately, this swamp here doesn't look like it's been affected yet. Well, I think maybe this is about as far out as I'm going to come into this pond. Being alone, I don't really feel like risking falling through the ice. And if you look right out there, you see a little dark spot where I'm sure the ice is a little bit thin. I'll bet there is a spring bubbling up right there that prevents that from freezing. So I'm not going out there. I'm going to walk along this way, stay close to the shore, head back to that grove of trees you see along the far shore there. Well, we're standing now on the far shore of the pond. You can see way in the distance there, cars racing by on Wixom Road. And in the foreground here is this dead tree swamp. Whenever I see these, I always wonder, what are trees doing in the middle of a swamp? How could they ever start growing there? Because trees don't usually like to have their feet wet like that. So it leads me to believe that at some point in time, the natural outlet for the water from this swamp was changed, and the water level rose and basically increased the size of the pond and drowned these trees. And here they've stood, slowly decaying for who knows how many years. All that's left of them basically is the trunks now. The bark is all fallen off, the wood's all bleached. Who knows how many more years they'll be there. I'm going to head cross country now through this grove of trees. Another hardwood forest here, and we're headed towards, hopefully we'll intersect with there's a trail that runs through the woods up here. It runs between the Proud Lake campground and Huron River site. It's basically a two-track through the woods, mountain biking, horseback riding, hiking, but we should be intersecting that trail here pretty soon. And we'll hit that trail and then hike on back to our car in the parking lot. All in all, it's been a pretty good walk with these snowshoes today. I really didn't know what to expect. First time ever on snowshoes, and hasn't been nearly as difficult as I thought it might be. It's a little bit awkward at times, but I haven't had any major problems. Only stumbled over on my butt one time. It does cause you to burn quite a bit more energy though. I'm finding that I'm working up quite a sweat, which is usually not a good thing to do when you're out in the woods in the wintertime. So I'm a little bit overdressed. It is above freezing today, about 35 degrees probably right now. Actually, it's a welcome relief from the couple of days we had in the single digits this week. So I'm out here with bare fingers and my ears uncovered and feeling quite comfortable. Oh, here's a trail. Looks like a well-trod trail. Game trail through the woods. Looks like this deer makes his rounds here every day. You know, it's so nice back here. And on the one hand, you wonder why the DNR doesn't put more trails in here and open this up so the general public has a greater chance to enjoy it. But I understand budget restrictions and all that kind of stuff. But in a way, mostly, I'm glad that they don't, because it keeps it a more private and personal experience for people like me. You have to make a deliberate effort to do this. It's certainly not a casual thing. It's a deliberate effort, and you have to be prepared and equipped. And if you are, here's the trail here. Here's the 2-track. And if you are, then you have the place to yourself. And I really like that. I really like being out in the woods. No one else out there except you and me. Hey, you know, trails are nice, but it's certainly no challenge walking on this trail packed down in snowshoes. In fact, it's too easy. So, maybe I'm going to head back through the woods again. I know exactly where I am, and I'll just walk through the woods here, more or less paralleling that trail, and we'll come out right where we parked the car. I like this better anyway. You never know what you're going to see back here. Like this red pine here being assaulted by these damn twisty oriental bittersweet vines. They are the ugliest thing. Ugly. It's another invasive species. See what I mean? Look at how that snow piled up on that branch there. Piled up till it couldn't stand up straight anymore by itself, and then folded over ever so gently, ever so slowly. The beauty of the winter woods. Oh, got to do a little bit of limbo here. How low can you go? Low enough. Look at that. Poison ivy vine. Ugh. Like a creepy centipede going up that tree. Oh, let's see if anyone's home. No, not today. Following the deer tracks through the woods. They know where to go. I don't, but they do. Well, here's a little depression that's obviously a trail, but no one's been walking in it. Yeah, this is going to take us back out to the 2-track there. You can see a guy walking his dog over there. We'll head on back into the woods. Stand here and admire this little, I shouldn't say little, big old white pine. Yeah, that dog knows I'm back here. Now the going gets tougher here. A little bit better. And so here we come. Roughly back to the pine grove, just across from the parking lot where we began today. Into the Black Forest. Oh, what do you know? Here's my tracks from earlier. Something weird this way went. Picking our way. Well, I'm gonna shut the camera off here now. Just about back to the car. Just a few more yards through these pines and we'll be out at the road. I hope you enjoyed walking with me today. Our little lunch. Some of Cindy's famous chili. A nice afternoon. Again, in the woods and wilds of Proud Lake Recreation Area. We're gonna start heading back. Somewhere back in here we should come up against the trail that connects the campground, which is a couple miles to the east here, but it connects the campground with the Huron River site of the Proud Lake Recreation Area. It's popular for hiking, mountain biking, horse riding, and now who would that be calling me? We better stop and find out.